What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Chris, and Shad. What's going on, fellas?
It's good.
What's going on? Man, Christmas is next week. I don't know how we got here, but we are here, which is insane.
Yeah. You said what?
I said Christmas is next week.
Christmas is next week. Oh, yeah. Christmas is next week. I mean, 2 weeks away from 2025. The year's been moving crazy. We keep talking about it. We keep saying it. We keep starting it off because, it is moving quickly. And at this point, playoffs in the college football playoffs start this weekend.
Yep.
Still a couple weeks from officially NFL playoffs, but it feels like right now it's really when the playoffs kind of start for teams fighting in, going through whether it's seeding or at least trying to get into the wild card or competing for their own division. But we've had a crazy week this week. We had a benching in Atlanta. We had another crazy game featuring Buffalo, obviously in Detroit again. Detroit, both teams, putting up points, lighting it up. Another MVP performance from Josh Allen, another MVP performance from Lamar Jackson as well. Chris's team, the Eagles, maybe have dispelled a little bit of the issues that we talked about last week. So it's an eventful week. Where you guys want to get it started at?
So that's what y'all wanted to see, huh? Let's get started there.
Oh my God. Yeah, we can go ahead and get started. So, what he said, he got pretty privilege.
No, that's crazy.
Hey, this nigga, Dominic Foxworth, man. They at your head. They on your head.
They on your neck, boy. They on your neck.
You gotta relax, bro. But with that being said, obviously the Eagles faced off against the Pittsburgh Steelers this past week. There was a lot of noise about A.J. Brown versus Jalen Hurts and Brandon Graham having his, 2 cents that he put in. How did you guys feel about the game? How did you? I think we all kind of expected where they were going to pass the ball a little bit more. And that came to fruition. But how'd you guys feel about the game and how it went and, the aftermath since?
To be honest with you, even outside of the aspect of, Brandon Graham and A.J. Brown and all the controversy they had, Steelers have one of the best run defense in the league. So they were gonna have to pass the ball to win the game regardless. So it was gonna show whether it was gonna be good or bad. They was gonna have to pass the ball either way. So it's good for me to see them be able to pass the ball effectively. Because the truth is, the last few games, we won, but the passing game hasn't been there. It hasn't been clicking on or in sync, I should say. But it was good to see it. Defense played well again. You could argue that obviously they were missing George Pickens, but the Steelers offense, it's not really that good, honestly, if we're being honest. They have an okay running game, and then obviously their best successful play is, deep shot to George Pickens and George Pickens going on to make the play. But I think it's more highlighted more of Pittsburgh as far as their offense goes. They've been flying on the radar as far as winning games, but let's look at the wins. Some of their wins they won by only kicking field goals. It ain't gonna win you no games in the playoffs. So I think that was my biggest takeaway as far as the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. It was good to see your passing game kind of wake up a little bit. Now, it does suck that it kind of happened with A.J. Brown getting nicked up a little bit. Hopefully he's good to go moving forward. But yeah, it just showed Pittsburgh's limitations for sure. I picked Pittsburgh, but it showed that they have zero room for error, pretty much. That fumble was crucial. They can't go out and turn the ball over. It's like when you can't get in a shootout, you cannot get behind by too many points, and that's exactly what happened in that game. So wasn't surprised, honestly, after the first few drives how it was going to go actually. But yeah, Pittsburgh got some work to do offensively if they do want to make some noise in the postseason. But yeah, it's good to see A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith have huge games. So,
and I wouldn't even necessarily say it was a shootout, more so because
the Pittsburgh Steelers only can't get into shootouts. It was not a shootout.
Can't get into shootouts, but that's kind of the type of game, you would think that Pittsburgh would win. The Eagles kind of dragged them out into the deep end and suffocated them really in the second half. And on top of Jalen Hurts performing well, I did just see this stat on Twitter, and I thought it was pretty interesting. From Jeff Kerr, CBS, Twitter, whatever, X, whatever. Jalen Hurts' fourth quarter stats during the Eagles' 10-game winning streak. His completion rate is 79.4%, which is first in the NFL. His yards per attempt is 11.6, which is first in the NFL. And his passer rating is 144.5, again, first in the NFL. He has as many touchdowns, which is 7, as he does incompletions in the fourth quarter during the 10-game win streak. So, for him to say, that's is that what you guys wanted? He can kind of stick his chest out a little bit more. But it is going to be interesting to see if that's something that continues as they go throughout the season. They're definitely going to have to be more consistent passing throughout the game. Obviously, you want to see it in the fourth quarter, late. But always being in the, not necessarily saying they've been in close games where he's needed to be clutch, but similar to ways that we've talked about with the Chiefs and some other teams that have played close games, you don't want to always do that in the playoffs either. So it was good to see. How do you guys feel? I don't know if you guys saw the stuff about from Jay Glazer where he said they had to talk to Jalen in the bye week, and Brandon Graham came back and said it was cap. But
Jalen also.
How do you guys feel about that?
I don't know if y'all saw, but they had their today was our first actual practice day, so the quarterback usually speak, and they asked him about it, and he said that wasn't true. So I don't know what to take from it. Why would Jay lie? But at the same time, if it
and he's also typically pretty spot on.
From him and Brandon to both come out and say, obviously Jalen was asked that question, so he just was like, well, no, that didn't happen. Yeah. Brandon went on the internet to say it didn't happen, but I don't know. You can't. I don't know, because they made it seem like, as a team, they made it seem like real conversations in general happen over the bye week. A lot of conversation between the coaches and the players, Jalen and Nick Sirianni. So they made it seem like a lot of stuff happened. So I could see that actually happening. But for him and Brandon to say it didn't happen, I don't know. It's nothing to hide behind if it did happen or not. Really nothing to hide behind, to be honest with you. But I don't know. It's weird. The situation's weird. That's why I was like, can Jay be lying? Because why would what would be the reason for you to say it's not true? It's not a damaging report or anything like that. So I don't know.
Regurgitating a old report coming. It's not like that hasn't been said before that he needs to open up or connect with the team a little bit more. But maybe that's what it is. For it to have been shot down almost immediately, but it was weird, and it wasn't something that he reported either. That was on Fox,
it was through a podcast or something.
Something kind of in passing that he really said. So it was a little weird, but
one thing about that game that pissed me off before we move on. Jalen had his magnificent play where he took off up the middle, kind of on a collapse play. And he moved the fastest I've seen that man move in a minute. I think you know what I'm playing what play I'm talking about. It's like, dude, if you can move like that, why don't you always run like that? Why you be running? I know we talk about it a lot on this podcast, he be running cool and shit. But dude could take off.
I noticed that he takes off a lot when he can go up. Yeah, but when he's going lateral, like a read option to pull, he can. I don't know what it is. He just can't move laterally like that. He can't get around the edge of no edge defender. He can't outrun them. But
he goes to the edge and he just drop down.
If it's up the middle, he takes off. And I don't know if that's more so because the defenders are coming the opposite way and it just looked like he's faster going up. But yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah, shit was crazy.
Yeah, so the other big news, obviously, from the week, Kirk Cousins has officially been benched, coming off of a win against the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football. Got benched the next day. How did you guys feel about that when you heard the news?
Okay.
Speak up. Speak up.
When I heard the news, I wasn't surprised. The writing's been on the wall. This stretch of games from Kirk Cousins was the worst that he's ever played, and it was really bad. And I thought that they would stick with him even throughout that, even after last week, after the Minnesota game. I thought they would just stick with it. But what happened on Monday night against the Raiders was something I don't think I've seen happen to a veteran quarterback, where they completely scrapped the game plan, scrapped the playbook, and just ran the ball the whole time. Kirk came out of halftime. He threw a touchdown pass finally to a wide open Drake London. Cool for him. But it's still like it wasn't in sync. The whole offense wasn't in sync. He missed some throws in the first half. Second half, first throw out of halftime, he throws a pick. And from that point on, they literally just run, pass it they had to. Run. They ran on 3rd down and 10. They ran they were keeping Kirk, like saving him from himself. You know, I haven't seen that from a veteran quarterback. It's wild. Like he's getting treated like a rookie that comes in, you know, for a quarterback that's hurt, like a 7th round, 6th round rookie that's coming in for a hurt quarterback. That's how they treated the game plan going forward. So after that, I knew. And then Raheem's comments after the game talking about we need to get better at the quarterback position kind of shifted from what he was saying the past 4 weeks. I knew a change was coming. It kind of had to. Like, Kurt was playing so bad. It's honestly ridiculous. I don't know if it's a confidence thing. He's not seeing the field well. I don't know what it is. Like, we always talk about like the arm strength, mobility, but he's not making good decisions at all. And that's what they brought you in to do. So wasn't surprised at the move. It does open up a lot of questions we can kind of get into as far as like, you know, the future for Kirk and what they plan to do at that in the off season. But what were y'all thoughts about it?
For me, I guess it's just timing for me, because it's an interesting timing for it to happen. And I know we spoke about it in our group, but it's like, you know, y'all still in position to make the playoffs, like to win the division. And not only that, y'all next game, not this coming game, but the one after, y'all flexing to Sunday night. Like, now you about to throw a rookie into a situation that is like, it could change the outlook of his trajectory, in my opinion, to be thrown in a situation like this. Because now you present yourself to the whole world, whether you're going to be good or not. Then, I mean, you could argue, say, well, it's better than Kurt, which it probably is. But it screams like, even though y'all just hired him, it screams like my job on the line or some shit like that. That's what it seems to me. It's giving like my job is on the line. Like, I'm not about to go down with this man because that's not who I wanted. I wanted Penix. So if I'm gonna go down this year, it's gonna be with him. So, but I mean, it's better.
Yeah.
It's better
I mean,
with
it's funny
Penix.
'cause, like-
it probably will be. I mean, like you said, if you all you doing is running the ball, nah.
Like that Raiders game was crazy. That Raiders game was crazy. But then like Zach Robinson, the OC, came out today, just now, really recently, basically saying that they had to dial stuff back from the playbook for the past few weeks to minimize turnovers. So they basically just hamstrung the whole offense, you know, to kind of because Kirk just was going through this, I don't know, whatever it is. But go ahead, Shot.
Yeah, I mean, in my first thought, I mean, I wasn't surprised. Obviously, you know, he got the kind of kiss of death that has been this season, when they don't commit on Tuesday, they don't commit to the quarterback, and then everybody's like, "Oh my God, they didn't commit to the quarterback." Yeah, we all knew that was probably coming. You know, obviously they released a statement later that day, so that was like that. I mean, as sudden as that was probably a little. You know, maybe not as soon. Probably expected the news to come today, and then maybe some hints at it. But I mean, I wasn't surprised about it. I will say there's been a lot of people like on Twitter that's been like trying to dunk on people and be like, oh, you know, all these people that were saying the Falcons were making a bad decision when they got Michael Penix, or the Falcon, or what, saying, should we bring up the things about people saying he's not going to play for 3 years? Like,
I've seen those.
Guys, this is the Falcons' worst nightmare. Like, this is not what they wanted. This is not what they planned. Not for this year. Obviously, they would not have guaranteed him money for the past 2 years. I mean, even if they could like Michael Penix as much as they want, and Michael Penix could go on and be great, this was their worst nightmare. They wouldn't have spent a 3rd-round pick on a aging pass rusher. They wouldn't have brought in Justin Simmons. Like the whole offseason would have been a whole lot different. So like let's relax on that. And now we get to see if Michael Penix what he does. But I mean, I think this kind of goes back to like, you know, where I felt like the Falcons were trying to operate on 2 different timelines where it was going to end up hindering them in the end. And we'll see how it plays out the last 3 weeks. But I mean, it sucks for Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's good for Michael Penix, obviously. Kirk Cousins, I mean, one thing we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, talked about getting a 2nd-round pick. I said that was not happening. That man is not getting no pick.
He's not getting
cut,
shit,
and he's
not
going wherever.
He's getting cut. He's going. Look, he probably should retire, but he's not going to. But yeah, he's going to get cut for sure. They'll do it as opposed to June 1 cut. So it's probably split it up 40 on the dead cap 2025, 25 on the dead cap 2026. And that's just going to be what it is, which is not terrible, especially with the cap projected to go up again. It's not like the terrible thing is just for Terry Fontenot, the GM. It's just not a good look that you signed this guy this past off season, and to have this happen after 14 games, you know, and it's going to be a talking point up until who knows into next season, until whatever happens with him, because you like everything we heard today, $90 million for 14 games, $90 million for 14 games.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and that is not.
There's gonna be a lot of conversation about it next year as well, because I mean, it's not a conversation that's over.
Yeah, at all. It's not a good look for Terry at all. I don't think Raheem's job is in jeopardy, but this is that's as bad as it probably can get for Terry. So I don't know. Like, of course, you know, our insider Jay Ben said it's like an 80% chance if they don't make the playoffs that Terry's going, which I can kind of agree. I can see that happening. I can honestly see it happening. I can see it. I can see it, but. You have somebody in hand that you want, if you're Arthur Blank,
maybe if they sign somebody in house, but
Joe Douglas out there.
You basically maybe, but I mean basically you committed to Terry. I feel like for a couple years when you denied Bill Belichick, when you drafted a 1st-round quarterback. I mean, you committed to that timeline, so it's
hopefully.
Everything
they've done is just like
Jay Ben. I mean, he been hitting like 2%. So we'll see about that. But you know, Kirk Cousins is tough. I mean, but I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's both Terry and Raheem on both, because I mean, the same things that the Falcons are saying now about Michael Penix, which they've been saying for forever, was the same things they said about Kirk. We think the world of Kirk. Kirk is our leader. Kirk is great. Kirk is this, that, and the third. Like, so I mean, all that keying at the interview. I mean, it's the press conferences, but I mean, it is. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the next 3 games is the next 3 games. We'll see how it is. I mean, the Bucks kind of made it not as interesting when we're getting that win against the Chargers, which was kind of the game that you really maybe thought that they could possibly lose to keep it there, to keep the Falcons in contention. But you never know how things go down the stretch. And I mean, Dallas is playing good as well. So
you never know. You never know. But shout out to Michael Penix. Let's get this dub. Let's go, Chris. Let's go, Chris.
Let's see. It's the Giants. Good.
Hey, it's a football game.
Drew Lock. But, you know, with that being said, we did see a big win from Baker and Tampa Bay against the Chargers, and a pretty dominant win, honestly, 40-17. But, I mean, the biggest game of the week, I mean, I think everybody know the Bills versus the Lions. What did y'all – I mean, do you guys think that Jared Goff, Josh Allen kind of locked up the MVP, or do you think that Lamar and Saquon should really still be in contention there?
I mean, we being honest, yes, Lamar definitely should be in contention as far as his stats go. But it's all about the wins at this point. And so because of, even though they play head to head, Lamar clearly outplayed him, whooped his ass, to be honest. That don't matter. It's really about
that was right. Too long ago.
And so with Baltimore, you know, especially, you know, coming off they lost and then they went on a bye week, it just gave basically Josh Allen momentum. It just gave him momentum, and the time frame of that time frame, he just went crazy. So it's unfortunate for Lamar. So I think it's just gonna go to Josh Allen. And another thing about Lamar, another thing about him is voter fatigue. He already won MVP. So I mean, they're gonna give every reason not to give him another one. But and then Saquon, I mean, again, it's a quarterback. Unfortunately, it's a quarterback's award, and that just ain't gonna happen. He's gonna win Offensive Player of the Year more likely, but MVP, nah, it's Josh Allen's.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think realistically, he did just lock it up. Saquon, I would like Saquon. I would like somebody other than a quarterback to win it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. It's just too much noise around the quarterback position for it to ever be something else. So, but Josh Allen did play great. You know what I mean? And he's having a fantastic season. As far as Lamar, like those 5 losses are going to come back to hurt him. He has a big opportunity this weekend to get back to where he can win that division. But other than that, especially if you don't win this weekend, like that shit is a wrap for him on Saturday. So yeah, Josh Allen it's his award to lose from this.
And that's honestly why I don't think it's over yet, because I think Lamar, if he's able to have like a big game, like 3-4 touchdown game, whether it's passing or a mix or whatever it is, against the Steelers on Saturday. And, Josh Allen, he's got the Patriots twice but the Jets next week, which is a game, they always struggle against the Jets. And the Jets have been playing all right over the past couple of weeks. So if I don't think that Josh Allen has to lose 5 games, but I do think that if he were to lose a game to the Patriots or the Jets over the next 3 weeks and Lamar is able to win out, I think that changes a lot. But as far as Saquon, I think he has to absolutely break the record. I think he has to break the record because not only, obviously he's having a much better season than the other guys that have been in that same system, but we have seen running backs have success, and it's not like the offense is just like, astronomically better than what it's been in the past comparatively. So I think that could hurt him, but I don't necessarily think it's completely locked up as I did on Sunday after the game, but I definitely think that it would be good to see him get it though. Either way, because Lamar getting a third, he's having a crazy.
That's what I'm saying. His
statistically, he's having a crazy.
But unfortunately, it's them losses.
Imagine like if he goes off these next couple games, like, we're talking another all-time great season. It's just crazy, his stats. Both of them, all 3 of them, because it's not like, Joe Burrow's putting up great stats as well. Obviously Josh Allen. And then if Saquon is even able to break the record, if Saquon's able to break the record and then Josh Allen and Lamar continue to put on a show for the next 3 weeks, that would be a crazy ending to the MVP just in general. I think people would it would be a legitimate split. But we'll see.
We'll see.
And then also the duds of the Monday night games. We need to start. Can we get flexes to the Monday nights too?
You can't. But you have to. You have to.
Too.
I think if I read this before.
It's
like Thursday and Monday night games are a good 3-4 weeks in advance. The other games, it could be a week or something like that. But those 2 days, it just had to be a good bit in advance.
But shit, we knew weeks ago that the Bears weren't shit and the Raiders and the Falcons probably weren't going to be shit. So,
yeah, that's true.
Like, we knew that weeks ago. So
it was that shit was ugly. The Falcons game, I wouldn't say it was entertaining, but at least it was close.
The Vikings game, it wasn't. If it wasn't for the dude not reporting eligible, that would have been a closer. I think it would have been a game at the end. But once that happened, I was like, oh, okay, well, they didn't score a touchdown, so it was over with.
I don't know. It was a lot of and we haven't talked too much about Caleb Williams, but it was just a lot.
What he do, Cal?
Yeah, I don't know what he had going on.
Bro, you cannot do that shit on the sidelines, bro. I don't care if you're a rookie. You cannot sit there and just do that. And I'm yeah, but he's running around for no reason too. That's the thing too. Like you don't have to do all that shit. He's sitting there hurdling people that's not even diving at him, man. This shit is ridiculous what you're doing, bro.
Yeah, he's got to figure it out. And I mean, I think he will. I mean, we'll see how it goes when they do get into the actual off season and start getting into, coach hirings and stuff like that. If they decide to get rid of Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles, which looks unlikely, but I mean, hey, we'll see. But before we get into the hot seat watch, this guy needs to be on the hot seat watch. There's somebody we've been talking about. I mean, we've been talking about this team for the past 2 years, but really over the past few weeks, need to make a jump or something. But golly, Tua, bro. God damn.
Bro.
Like, how I couldn't imagine being a Dolphins fan. Like this was a game. Houston, like I said, last week when we were talking about our picks, I mean, Houston was reeling. And Tua, I mean, geez, anytime. I mean, it's as soon as he snaps that ball, if it's not like that first read, it was like every single play was just dead. Like it was either bad throw, pick, thrown behind. Like it was something. And it's like, dog, like how is that still the game for? I mean, that that last throw even was just like, it's so like, if I was a Dolphins fan, we talk about so many teams everybody's talking about all these teams could be stuck. The Colts, I mean, possibly the Falcons. We'll see how the last 3 games in. The Niners, if they have to sign Brock Purdy, blah, blah, blah. But like, Miami, it's just like, damn, how do you?
Yeah.
If you couldn't beat this team, like this good team, like, it's like, geez.
That shit ain't never gonna happen. I think they said Mike McDaniel's record above with against teams above 500 or something like that was like something ridiculous. Like 3-15, 3-16. I think now after this weekend.
Even 3.
Yeah, it said 3.
It was just
it was 3-15. That was going into the game, I believe. But it's
I know one of them was Dallas last year.
That's ridiculous, bro. Like that is ridiculous. And it's like nothing's getting better.
Thing is, when they lose to them, when they lose
team.
a good team, it don't be no close game. It either be a blowout or
it's the same story.
Or it just be a whole bunch of turnovers.
This was a close game, but it was just a bunch of turnovers. Like every time, bro. Like it's like, bro, like I couldn't imagine being just knowing that we had. I mean, the quarterback is locked up. You think you don't know if you have a good coach or not because you guys did put up 70 points, but. I don't know, man. I would be.
And then
it's tough. And then what the fuck is going on with Tariq Hill?
His ass. He should be looking dumb as hell. When something fucked up happened, he should be like.
I mean, you got Jalen Ramsey over there. How much have we talked? How much is the national media and the NFL world talked about Jalen Ramsey all year? How much has they talked about Tariq Hill all year, aside from the off-field shit that he had going on? How much we talked about Jalen Waddle or like, it's just like, geez, they got so much talent. And now they talk about they're going to possibly cut Calais Campbell once they miss the playoffs so he can go to a team that might get a ring, like probably the Ravens.
Shit, we'll pick that motherfucker. But it's just, he would go back to the Ravens. I'm tripping.
He played for them.
You're right.
That's what I'm just assuming. I know. They didn't say anything about him going to the Ravens, but So it's like, bro, like that shit sucks, bro. Like I was watching that game the whole time. I was just like, come on, like you keep getting this opportunity after opportunity after opportunity.
But it's just like you just think about it. It's like you got Tua, but you got Tyreek, and you got Jalen Waddle, and you got H in the back, and you got Raheem Mostert. Like this offense supposed to be good. Like you can't be putting up 12, 15 points. Nah, bro, you got to at least get 20. Jonnu Smith, tight end 1 ain't the right cat.
Jonnu Smith and their best player
over there. He asked out.
That is bad. It's terrible for them. I mean, but I don't know. I never thought Mike McDaniel was a good coach anyway. But
I mean, hey, maybe I don't. Hey, I don't know, cause I seen this man win games with that. I
Hey,
don't know, cause that
ever
shit was
since
bad.
they talking about some break dancers, I ain't seen shit else from them.
Yeah,
I
facts.
ain't seen
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
else.
Nah,
But
it's a bad look for sure.
I mentioned those other teams. Let me add the Titans in there too, because obviously they just benched their quarterback. We didn't, we're not talking about him much because he obviously kind of got like pseudo benched before. But I mean that's probably the end of the Will
Yeah,
Levis experiment in Tennessee. I don't really know where they go because Ryan Tannehill's still free agent and nobody's heard from him. But they're kind of in a
Teddy
position
Bridgewater.
where, yeah, maybe they're kind of in a position where they will have to be a trade up team, or we'll see what other quarterbacks declare. But it could get a little tough for them. So
That's why I
with
said.
that
That's
being
why I had
said,
him as a Sam Darnold target. I mean, it's just
I won't.
yeah,
I mean, I guess you could try. I mean, I
you
mean that would
try
probably be where he go
it.
or Kurt.
or
Because
Kirk.
the vets, the vets love to go die in Tennessee. So,
I'm telling you, that's how the place
so
will die.
I mean, Tennessee is a nice. I mean, people like living in Tennessee.
I guess.
Kirk Cousins seemed like he a Tennessee ass nigga, and then
It's close enough, I guess, to Atlanta,
man,
right?
he don't. He's close
They
enough
say
to
they
Atlanta.
say
He don't
they
have
say
to do all
Nashville
that.
booming, so
Bruh, he
He seemed like
probably in
he probably.
fucking. He probably going home talking about, man, they had me doing all this swag surfing and walking your trap. I don't even know what that means. He
Oh
go
man,
sing them country songs in
but
Tennessee.
hell.
So, uh,
let's
so
pour one out too to peak Jameis Winston this season. He's probably done for the rest of the season unless DTR gets hurt.
his career is probably.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
gave us
he's
fun
never
times
getting a
though.
starter.
He's
Never getting a starter
And it
he's
sucks
opportunity
gave us
again.
fun
because
So
times.
he be it's just so volatile, man. But I
Yeah,
have 400 yards,
yeah,
4 touchdowns, 4 picks, pick 6 to end the
yeah,
game. Like that shit, that sucks because
yeah. Just
and it'd be some of the greatest
I
passes
really
you
think
ever
people
see
love to
too.
watch him play, but it's just like I don't want him on my team.
yeah,
Dog. I
for
don't
sure.
want him on my team.
Like to sit there and just deal with it as a coach. I know Stefanski just be like, "God damn, like what can you do, bro? It's bad." And he's a great quote. They love him on TV. So I mean,
He's a good. I mean, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
that shit is over with. That's just a wrap for James Winston. I mean, he's only like 30, whatever, 30, 31. So he's not that old, but it's still like, dude.
So since we're talking about benchings, let's go ahead and get into the hot seat watch. It's been a year for some hot seat watch, folks. Mike McDaniel, Tua, Will Levis, Anthony
Kurt.
Richardson, Kurt. Who else been on the hot seat? Michael Parsons. He was crying after I put him on the hot seat.
Eberflus,
Crazy. Eberflus. I mean, it's been a year.
Aaron Rodgers.
Kyler.
Yeah.
People are starting to. And there's been this weird phenomenon again. It seems like it happens every year around this time that people are starting to get weird about Justin Herbert again. So Justin Herbert,
That is true.
and it's going to get real weird if you lose on Thursday. So let's go ahead and get into the hot seat watch and who you guys got and why.
For me, it's no benching, it's none of that, but it's a team that gotta gather themselves together, and it's the Lions. I understand y'all have a million fucking injuries, I get it, but I feel like as a coach, you got to be able to coach around it, and for the defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn to be putting them boys in man to man situations with all their DBs that hurt, I don't get it. He's asking for it every time. And their offense can only do so much. Yes, their offense is prolific, is got firepower, but now they done lost another piece of the offense. So like as a defensive coordinator, like you got to be able to reel your defense in even with the injuries. And then Dan Campbell, I mean, I gotta put him on hot seat because motherfucker be going off on Nick Sirianni when he go for shit and don't make it, and then they be acting like he just dumb and fuck and he the worst coach in the world. But when this man do it time and time again and it fails, hey, he stick to his guns. He the best coach. I would run through. Nah, I need the same energy for this man because it's been last year. You could argue cost his team winning going to the Super Bowl. just this past game. I mean, you could argue about the onside kick. Most people wouldn't have done it, but because he's an aggressive coach, it's all good. He went against Green Bay. He failed in their own territory, which gave Green Bay a touchdown. But I mean, a lot of his decision makers, I get it. You want to be aggressive, but when other people do it, it's a fucking issue. So that's really my beef between them. But yeah, I got them on the hot seat. They need to right the ship because they can easily move from being number one in the NFC to being the wild card.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. They are on their tails. Minnesota, the Eagles. So yeah, I like it. For me, okay, last week, I had the Colts on it. We didn't really talk about the Colts game.
Ain't nothing to talk about.
we got to talk about it, but damn, that's not what you want to see as a Colts fan. I know it's a little rough, but I mean, it's an outside chance to get to the playoffs, but that was bad. That was
outside.
Yeah. But this week, I gotta go with the Seahawks. I know we've had them on a hot seat probably a couple times throughout the year, but that's just how the NFC West has been. Like these motherfuckers are still like pushing and pulling. But last week you go up against Green Bay and you don't look like you're in the same class with them at all. First drive of the game, they run it down your throat. And clearly your defense wasn't ready for that game plan at all. Josh Jacobs, like they were punching that shit. I think they threw it maybe one time, like 3 or 4 times to Josh Jacobs. I think that's the only throws they had on that first drive. They came out and asserted dominance. And that's honestly a mark of a great coach. Shout out to Matt LaFleur. But I think that was perfect. But Seattle, like you got Minnesota this week. You're right now just got pushed out of the division lead because you don't have the tiebreaker with the Rams, who are now the leaders of that division. You lose this week. You played the Rams last week of the season. You'll find yourself out of the playoffs more than likely. And that's not. It's been an up and down season all season, but you gotta pick a path. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be good? Are you gonna compete, or are we still working through shit? I know there's been some injuries too on their line, both sides. But Seattle just hasn't been inspiring for what was ahead of them with the NFC West this year. So big game that you can show out this week against Minnesota and kind of pull out the upset. That'll be good, going forward. But you're on a hot seat, man. I'm watching y'all.
Yeah, Seattle is good, and everybody that drops the ball before the end zone should be on the hot seat as well.
Oh,
but that shit is ridiculous.
With that being said, Michael Penix on the hot seat. This is going to be very unfair for you because you've now been thrust into a position with a bunch of rabid fans. But you are officially on the hot seat because number one, you were an older prospect, and people thought you might be a year or two, but obviously you're getting thrust into playing your rookie season. Your clock has now been open. Your window has now been open. The Falcons, if they miss the playoffs this year, because given the situation that they have put themselves in with having a GM that somehow made it after the Arthur Smith stuff, and with a GM and a head coach that are a little bit on different timelines, Raheem Morris is going to be on the hot seat next year. And with that being said, Michael Penix is going to be on the hot seat next year. He's basically going to have these 3 games in next year. And by this time next year, if the Falcons aren't a division winner, they're going to be talking about, should we get Raheem Morris out of here? Definitely going to be having fans talk, or whatever his name is. Definitely going to be fans talk about getting Terry out of here. And with that, you got a new head coach and a new GM that's going to want a new quarterback. And depending on how your play is at that point, unfair or not, that is what it's going to be because you're an older quarterback. And if for people that are excited about Michael Penix, as you should be because he's a rookie, he has an elite arm talent, you also have to take into consideration at this point, Terry or whoever is picking is now 0 for 4 in picking quarterbacks that they've brought in. Marcus Mariota, bad. Desmond Ridder, Kirk Cousins, and my boy Georgia's own Taylor Heineke, which is so, and now obviously Michael Penix is a little bit different from all of them. He had more experience and was a better player in college than Desmond Ridder, so that is a little bit different. But I mean, once again, I've been making this parallel and I've done it a couple times, and I'll do it again here. The Falcons are very reminiscent of what the Colts are and what the Colts have been. If you want to look at what the Colts have been and you want to talk about Anthony Richardson, the Colts have been, I mean, Phillip Rivers was 1-1. But if you want to say Jacoby, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Nick Foles, Sam Ellinger, 1 for 6 on quarterbacks. And right now, the way things are going, Joe Flacco, 1 for 7. I mean, what are you going to say about Anthony Richardson? Yeah. In that same light, Chris Ballard is a GM that has made it through multiple regimes and obviously hired a guy that people were excited about, even to the point that Raheem Morris was the backup option for the Colts. Matt Ryan could be your Kirk Cousins in this situation. Drake London is a receiver from USC, just like Michael Pittman. Both guys that, are they number ones or are they really great twos? Michael Pittman this year, Drake London at the beginning of this year, but recently has been. So it's like, even to the point, Josh Downs, an underrated guy, versus Darnell Mooney. So it's like there's a lot of parallels there. I'm just saying, Michael Penix, you're going to be on the hot seat. You got to have, I don't say you need to have great games, but you have to show promise, I think. And then if you want to look at the rest of the quarterbacks, this is another thing that's going to be kind of hurting him a little bit. If you want to look at the rest of the quarterbacks from the past 2 years, everybody's scouting report to this point has been spot on. Bryce Young, solid quarterback, solid athleticism, good arm, was going to be a solid pro, but doesn't have elite arm strength that could possibly make him an elite quarterback. I feel like now that he's been in a normal system, that's exactly what he's been. CJ Stroud, probably going to come in, be great, and that's all he may ever be. I don't think anybody from Houston right now is feeling like, is CJ Stroud going to take another step? Anthony Richardson, high ceiling, low floor, inaccuracy, inexperience. He's shown all of that. He's shown great and he's shown very bad. Will Levis.
Ass.
Caleb Williams, high potential talent. We've seen those games, same game that he had against Jacksonville, which was high quality football that can't stay on script, and he's a little undersized and thinks he has better athleticism than he does. Is that not spot on? Jaden Daniels, elite ball thrower up the seam, but not very great in the middle. Has that been exactly what he's been? Drake May, they said he was a little bit inexperienced. He's going to be a little bit inaccurate, but he has a high ceiling. I feel like that's exactly what we've seen from Drake May. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy hasn't played. Bo Nix, they said he was going to be solid, accurate, but we'd never threaten downfield. I think we've seen exactly that from Bo Nix. So, Michael Penix, you have an opportunity to be the outlier of all the rest of these quarterbacks and stand out. So let's see what you do.
Well,
Michael Penix, you're on the hot seat. That boy had a think piece. It was study for that motherfucker. Okay.
Boy had a 400-page manual.
This is.
It's been a lot, bro. I mean, if you think about it, it's down to a T. Everybody's scouting report for all of the quarterbacks have been what it is.
No, that's fair.
And so Michael Penix, because he's the old, I think Bo Nix is also going to be on a short clock, especially because of how he's played. But Michael Penix, unfairly, whether you want to say it's unfair or not, given the situation, I think it's going to be tough next year.
I think Bo Nix is definitely helped by that defense, for sure. But yeah, I like that one, Mike Penix. I believe in you. We're going to go out and ride this shit out.
We're going to see.
We're going to see.
But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our picks for the week. Let's see what we had last week, and we'll get into the Thursday night game.
All right. Big week for you, Shad. The only one you got wrong was the Chargers against Tampa Bay. So you guessed correctly on the Rams, the Texans, Buffalo, Philly, and Green Bay. Chris, you were 3 of 6 because you picked San Francisco and Miami for whatever reason. And I got 4 out of 6. So that brings us to our total. For me, 49. Chris, you're at 59. Shad, you're at 51. So
to be honest, both them sold on that pick, bro. They had a chance.
Walk
They had a
around.
chance. Nah.
I hear you.
And the great thing about it is we get to talk about basically all of those teams all over again.
That's facts.
With the first game Thursday night, Denver at the Chargers. Obviously, Denver got extremely lucky last week. In a game that they went from getting dominated to dominating the game. Bo Nix, he had 3 touchdowns, three picks. I don't know how he had 3 touchdowns, but Chargers obviously got dominated in their game against the Bucks in a pretty big game for both teams. So who you guys got and why?
Ooh, division game. I mean, it's gonna be a hard fought game for either team. But I believe the Chargers are gonna win. They gotta get that nasty taste out of their mouth from last week. I mean, that was embarrassing. That was an embarrassing game. They got totally ran through. But I think Jim is a good coach. I think he's gonna have his players to play. And I think they're gonna game.
I think what we saw from the Chargers is kind of just what they are. That's why I picked Tampa Bay last week, because I just think they were the better team. The Chargers' lack of offensive weaponry really comes into light here. I don't know, they had Lad back last week. But it's like every single ball that's thrown at QJ, it's like, what is he going to do? Is he going to drop the shit? Like, it's a little rough. And of course, still not having JK, which is huge for them. They've been rotating out running backs. It's just not good right now. Which no shame on Jim on Harbaugh for that. But at the same time, I think Denver just a better team, a better defense overall right now. So I think they can control this game, even though it is on the road. But I think you see a big performance from their defense. And I got Denver winning this one and clinching their playoff berth for the first time since the Super Bowl season. So I think they understand that. Definitely here. And it's a huge game for them. So I got Denver.
So, yeah, you said they understand that, but I can't help but remember what I saw at home coming off of a bye week to a team, that you could also say is reeling in the Indianapolis Colts that were also fighting for a playoff spot. And like I said, until Jonathan, I mean, they were well on their way to getting blown out of that game when Jonathan Taylor dropped the ball on the 1 yard line that ended up getting a touchback. And from there, the Colts kind of imploded. Even to Cass's point, we had talked about it, even the pick six was one that very well could have been a touchdown. Well, probably would have been a touchdown once again if the Colts didn't implode, given what was going on. So I don't know if I trust the Denver defense at this point, especially because they haven't been great since Riley Moss has been out. Obviously, they had a little bit of a shootout with, which is saying something. A white cornerback is out, and you're struggling. But hey,
Shout out Riley
they
Moss.
had a shootout with the Cleveland Browns, and then obviously the Colts had the game pretty much in hand for the most part until the fourth quarter, and then everything kind of imploded. So Bo Nix, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions over the past 2 games. He was not great once again against the Colts. He was actually really bad against the Colts.
Really bad.
He was seeing ghosts. The Chargers defense is good enough, even though they've been struggling over the past few weeks as well, where I think that they get some turnovers over Bo, and Justin Herbert does just enough that they're able to win in a close, ugly game at home, and leaving things open. So,
okay.
Getting into the next game, Houston at Kansas City. Obviously, we talked a little bit about Houston winning against Miami in another game where they didn't look great. Kansas City obviously getting a win against the Cleveland Browns, and Patrick Mahomes doing his annual fake limping, so they say on Twitter. But it appears that he's going to play in this game. I mean, he's practiced 2 games in a row, or 2 days in a row. Who you guys got and why?
Yeah, he for sure playing. But I got Kansas City. Houston, they even though they won the game against Miami, it didn't look that good. They just haven't been looking good this year. And like Shah brought up earlier, CJ, have we seen it? Has he hit his ceiling already? I mean, he had an amazing, first year as a rookie, but this year it hasn't really looked the same. And Chiefs, they still got a real good defense. I know it's gonna be close because that's how they've been playing all year. It's no blowout at all. But I think somehow they pull it out at the end. So I got the Chiefs.
I got Chiefs in this one as well. Best thing that happened over last weekend for Houston was the Colts losing and them locking up the AFC South. And with that being said, there's not really a huge need, honestly, to win this game. They're most likely going to be 4 going into the playoffs. Kind of either way it shakes out. Maybe something if Baltimore can shake shit up there, we'll see. But it's looking like they're going to be a 4 seed. It is what it is. I got Kansas City winning this game. They still, honestly, they still need this for the 1 seed, and they can lock that up too. So I think they take it seriously and close it out. Like Kansas City.
I'm actually going with Houston in this one.
Sadly.
These are two teams that keep finding a way to win
Yes.
without looking at their best. This is just one of those games where CJ Stroud, I can see making a couple great throws to keep them in. And then Joe Mixon, the run game kind of getting off. Even though Patrick Mahomes is practicing in full and it appears Hollywood Brown is also going to play, the offense still hasn't been great. And I think it will still hurt his mobility a little bit, as we've seen. I mean, we saw against, in the playoffs against Philly where kind of the same thing happened, and then Philly kind of got after him in the first half, and then from there, they kind of imploded on defense at least. But Houston's pass rush is going to get after him, and the Kansas City Chiefs are kind of on their last leg with moving Joe Thuney over to left tackle. If he had a decent game this past game against the Browns. I could see him having trouble with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. And then if there's any chance of him getting hurt, it really puts a wrench into anything that Kansas City is going to do moving forward, in my opinion. So I think Houston, they win this game in another close, kind of ugly win game there that they just find a way to win somehow. Before we get into the next game, how do you guys feel about the NFL kind of competing with the college football playoffs, considering it's the first year of the extended playoffs?
They funny as hell. I mean, they're only doing it because they're. It's funny because they're doing it because they're competing with the NBA with Christmas, because they trying to keep the same spacing games, so that's why the same 4 teams are playing is gonna play on Christmas, but. I don't like it. It was really a shock because I was talking to you about it the other day, child, when we was talking about the games. You was like, the playoffs this weekend too. And I'm just like, wait, what? I don't know. I kind of don't like it because this is college is trying to expand their avenue. Like you said, this is the first year seeing this format as far as the amount of teams, and you're literally in the middle of the whole thing going on. I mean, it sound good per se when you think about it early in the year, like, oh, we got all this football in one game in one day, but nah, I don't like it.
And it's kind of like Ice Cube with the Big Three. Obviously, the Big Three is a avenue for retired NBA players to come and continue playing after their career, 3-on-3 basketball, whatever. And, he was always talking about how the NBA wouldn't really cooperate with them or really work with them. And that's kind of how I feel. It's like, you're kind of hating, not really hating, obviously it's all business or whatever, but you should be shedding light and kind of supporting the next, like, up and coming, because this is really where they start to shine. I mean, just the same time last year, we were talking about Michael Penix and talking about how he had an opportunity, after his beating Texas, to kind of show that he could be that number 1 quarterback coming in the draft if he got a big win against Michigan. We talked about how other players had done that in the past, and going into the season, Stetson Bennett was a guy that people thought was never going to get drafted. And somehow he finessed his way to being like I think he was a 3rd-round pick with the Rams and as the Rams backup with Jimmy Garoppolo. So really not bad, but still. But you would think the NFL would be trying to like boost the future. Similarly to the NBA, you would think that they would be trying to boost like March Madness and something like that, and not trying to compete with them. So I don't know. This is a little weird. But with that being said, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. I'm going to be watching that instead of the playoffs anyway. So, who you guys got and why? We know what's up. Pittsburgh at Baltimore.
Probably the one of the best rivalries in the game right now. But I got the Ravens, man. They got to get that. I mean, they got to get this dub. I mean, after losing the first time around, when one team is only kicking field goals, like that should never happen. And I think they're going to insert their dominance. Especially if George Pickens is not playing. That offense for the Steelers is very much limited. Like, as long as you take away the run game, there's nothing that they got, to be honest. I mean, they got fire moves, but other than that, their offense isn't good at all. So I think the Ravens can dominate on defense, and Lamar's going to make his plays, and they're going to get this W so they can, try to, get their division back. So I got the Ravens.
Yeah, the George Pickens loss is still. He didn't practice. I don't think he practiced today or yesterday. I don't think so. We'll see if he plays. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh in this one. I ain't got no real analysis behind it. To be honest with you, other than Lamar gets Pittsburgh. It's just I don't know. We'll see. Baltimore is at home, which I definitely think will help. But I tell you one thing, I cannot wait to see the Hard Knocks episode of this week leading up to this game and at this. I cannot wait for that. Yeah. I am tuned the fuck in. But I'm going to go Pittsburgh in this one just to be different because I need to catch up.
I'm going Baltimore in this one. Baltimore, I think Baltimore was a better team in the first one they kept shooting themselves in the foot. They were even trying to fit themselves. At that point in time, they were trying to fit in that Deontay Johnson, and it's a little bit of a weird situation going on there. I don't really know or understand what the fuck's going on over there, but hopefully they kind of figure that out. But no George Pickens. Once again, like last week, I can't pick the Steelers. Baltimore's defense has been playing better over the past few weeks, and it really kind of started right around that first game against the Steelers. So I think that Baltimore wins, and I think that Lamar dominates and has a big game this time. He's dispelling narratives.
What they say
for all the people that say, he's due. All the people that say he can't pass, and somehow he's got the second highest passer rating ever through 14 games,
and the crazy ass touchdown interception, 34-3 touchdown interception,
34-3. 36, I think 30, 37 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
3. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So this next game, Minnesota at Seattle, could get not interesting very quickly if Geno doesn't play, but it appears he might be playing. So who you guys got and why?
This is an interesting game because I feel like Minnesota can do the same thing that, Green Bay did. Like Cass talked about earlier, Green Bay went heavy with the Josh Jacobs run, even passing to him early. And Aaron Jones can do the same thing. And so I'm looking to see if they take that approach. Vikings been playing well all year. And, they've been kind of flying under the radar because most people are expecting them to just fall off because most people don't believe in Sam Darnold, but their defense is playing very, very well all year. Sam, he's been doing good, although he is a little nicked up, but he's gonna fight through it. So I think I'm gonna roll with the Vikings. Seattle do need this game desperately. The Vikings are in the playoffs. Obviously, they still fight for division and 1 seed. Seattle, they need this game for sure. So they're gonna be desperate, but I got the Vikings winning this.
I think this is a terrible matchup for Seattle this week, specifically because of Geno's health, his knee. They're gonna send it at him.
He need his knee,
and Geno's liable to do some dumb shit. And I think it will be a pick six in this game, probably for Van Ginkel, like it always is for the Vikings. But I got the Vikings in this one. I think it'll be just too much. I know, Seattle's at home, right? Yeah. So Minnesota will be on the road. It's slated to rain right now. We'll see what happens on Sunday. I know it can get a little murky, but I don't think Ken Walker's playing, so you can see more Charbonnet, which he's been playing well actually. So we'll see. But I think Minnesota defense would just be too much for Geno on the offense. And I don't think protection will hold up with this one.
I agree, pretty much. And last week the Packers kind of took over in Seattle.
I was just about to mention that with Cass said at home. That was shocking to see.
Yeah, there could
for me.
Could be a possibility that the Vikings fans do the same. And it's just with Geno hurt, the offensive line already isn't great, and he's already had to kind of make some, make plays. We saw how quickly it turned bad when Sam Howell got in last week. So I just Minnesota's on. They got a battery on their back in their bag now. Detroit lost, and they've got an opportunity to keep pace with them, and some games to come up. So I'm rocking with Minnesota, and Sam Darnold continues his. You think he wins comeback player of the year, or can he not win comeback player of the year?
I don't think so.
What's the change in the rule?
That you
basically
have to be
like a guy like Joe Flacco, I think can.
So now
you can't just be. You can't come back from just being benched, or you can't come back from just being like. Shit. Yeah, you gotta be like some health or family
I mean, that's what it should have been
out the game.
Time,
So I don't know who the fuck's gonna win it this year. To be honest with you, side note, I don't know because it can't be Kirk no more. Maybe Aaron Rodgers might be playing himself into it, but no, so like who? Who the fuck's gonna win it? Joe Burrow did end the season hurt last year, so he is eligible. It might be Joe Burrow. Actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
getting to the next game. Another storyline here. Two storylines that have kind of fell under the radar with some of the things that have happened over the past few weeks, and then one of these came on Thursday. But San Francisco at Miami. Not a lot have been talked, but we talked about it a little bit and touched on it last week, but didn't talk too much about it. But obviously there was noise with Debo having a tough game after, tweeting that he doesn't get the ball thrown to him and then, dropping a pass that probably changed the entirety of the whole game last week. And then the weird situation with Devondre Campbell refusing to play, which is now, that's multiple people because Deontay Johnson obviously refused to go in the game. How do you guys feel about that situation and with Debo before we get into the game?
It sounds like, how can I say this? It feels like they're taking the approach of, with like how basketball players do. Like it's a players type of thing. Like they're like, trying to take command of, how they feel. But I don't know. Devondre Campbell, I mean, for you to I guess I get it somewhat, but I mean, he was there for a back row to begin with. That's his spot. So if you're mad that they're gonna put him back in his spot, I don't know. I don't know. And then Deontay Johnson, it just seemed to me he just didn't want to wherever they send him off to. He don't want to be there, and so if he doesn't want to be at said place, I mean, I don't know. What can you do with that? And Debo, he just I don't want to address that, man.
Now, Devondre Campbell stuff was crazy. I just don't understand what he thought. Drake Greenlaw had a great season last year, a fantastic season last year, and of course, what happened to him in the Super Bowl was very unfortunate. But you know exactly why they brought you in. Why you acting crazy? Why you acting confused? So then you pull this stunt. And I don't know if you did this with any kind of intention to get to another team, but they nicked that in the butt real quick and said, no, we're not going to release you so you can go sign with somebody else. No, we're not going to grant you that liberty. I don't know. From a veteran like Campbell, I was just very confused about that whole thing. With Deontay Johnson, I mean, I get his frustrations. But that's why, I mean, we said it before, like when he got traded there, like, it's a weird fit. Like we were interested to see like how it would work because like it's just not how the Ravens operate their offense. So in a contract year, I get your frustrations because now you go from being number one option to being 5, and you probably thought, I don't know, but I think that his situation a little bit more understandable than Campbell's, in my opinion. And I ain't gonna talk about Debo.
My only thing about Devondre Campbell is I wonder if he was told, like, hey, maybe during the week he was told, like, hey, you're not gonna, you're gonna still get PT, or maybe you're gonna start and he's gonna get in, or maybe he felt like he's had a really good season, or whatever he was told when he was signed. I'm wondering if maybe that was a factor, because they do be used car salesmen, try to sell you a dream. But it was weird, and his teammate, all the 49ers basically saying fuck him is not a good look for him at all. But I do. I mean, it would be it would be interesting to hear what he has to say if he does ever speak out on it. I don't know. That's probably the end of his career anyway, because I don't know if he gets.
You can't come back.
But somebody else brought it up. Like, you wasn't even their first choice to replace him. They was trying to sign Eric Kendrick until he reneged and went to Dallas. So like, it was never your position. You was a stopgap. Like, you was a placeholder at this point. Like you said, maybe they told him like, nah, we just gonna work Greenlaw in, and Greenlaw come out there and start. But
yeah, I mean, he is a veteran. I think he's been a Pro Bowler. I know he was a Pro Bowler with Green Bay, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But with that being said, San Fran and Miami, who you guys got?
I got San Fran. I just can't trust Miami no more. I mean, I can't really trust San Fran for real. But out of the two, I just can't trust Miami no more. I don't. It just ain't working down there. Something got to change with Miami. I feel like last week, I don't want to blame it on that, but both teams did struggle with the element. So maybe it's a different story. Because they're at Miami, so it might be. I'm assuming it's gonna be better weather. So I think San Francisco's gonna play way better than they did last week. But it doesn't matter where Miami play; they just not good right now. So I got San Fran.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall with Miami. I think they kind of just pack it up from here. Everybody, the littlest things now just like get everybody in a frenzy. I saw Tyreek Hill tweet about. Y'all saw that tweet today, like
the coach,
the coach shit. And I'm sitting here getting notifications on my phone, and they cut off the coach part. It's like this shit is just too messy over there. You can't beat and I'm not saying San Francisco's a good team, but I think they're better than Miami still, and better coached. So I just got San Francisco on this one. Let's go with that.
I think it's going to be a really exciting game, back and forth offensively. But yeah, I got San Fran as well. Can't trust Tua after. I would never put my faith in Tua again. I didn't. I was nervous about. I didn't pick them last week, but I really wanted to because I did think the game was going to be close and they had an opportunity. But last week I was just sitting there like, bro, like to be quite honest with you, that's when I knew the Colts was going to lose because I was like. The Colts should be getting the division off this game right now. Put a little battery in their pad. As soon as I seen Tua was doing it, I was like, yes, it's over with.
It's a wrap. It's
over with. I like these niggas probably looking at the game like, all right, here we go. Let's go get this game. This bullshit out of the way. But anyway, yeah, I got San Fran. I think, Brock has a good game that kind of spurns a little bit more conversation about his contract as we get into the offseason. But getting into the last game, the Sunday night game, a guy that Brock Purdy may resemble his contract, and Baker Mayfield, obviously he's heating up. Has the Bucks in the first in division right now. Going into Dallas at Dallas, obviously Dallas has been playing really well. Got a big win against the Carolina Panthers this past week. Who you guys got and why?
I got Tampa Bay. They need obviously they're still in the still a race for their division. So, they need to stack up their wins so they can win the division. Dallas has not played good at home all year. He get beat up at home for whatever reason after last year, being undefeated at home. But I do think Dallas can play spoiler. I think they can, that's kind of their mission at this point in time, even though obviously Mike is saying, we can still make the playoff. They're theoretically not eliminated. They're playing spoiler. But I think, Tampa Bay, they're on a heater right now offensively. I think they go in there and convincingly win. So I got them beating Dallas.
This is a tough one for me to pick. I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. I think they're obviously just a better team, better quarterback play. But I did see some signs from Cooper Rush that were good last week as far as that offense going. They got CD involved. And shout out to Micah Parsons. I saw a tweet 33rd team put out today saying he has the most games with 7+ pressures generated with 5. And he's missed 7 games this season. So he is just a hell of a talent. That could get a little. Baker Mayfield did miss practice today with a knee injury. They're saying precautionary at this time. But it could get a little interesting if Micah starts wrecking that game. And they can't get the run game going against that defense. So which they should be able to. But yeah, I got Tampa Bay in this one though.
Yeah, I got Tampa Bay as well. Cooper Rush has been playing and really has been playing better than what Dak was playing at the beginning of the season as well. Defense obviously has come around a little bit. But Tampa Bay, they know, Atlanta's trying to fight to get in. Atlanta has a very, very, very tiny chance at getting into the wild card. Their best path to getting into the playoffs will be through division. And Tampa Bay knows that. They know that they might be trying to get a spark with switching quarterbacks and things could change very quickly in NFL like we've seen. So I think that they go in, they handle business. We see another huge game for Mike Evans, especially with Trayvon Diggs, another weird situation going on there. He's saying whatever they said, or there's been reports that he wasn't giving his all during rehab and stuff like that. And he's going to become a prime cut candidate in this offseason. I bet he ends up getting cut, given, they're probably going to want to sign Micah. Maybe they can sign a guy like Deron Bland to something a little cheaper, stuff like that. So, with him being gone, I just think Mike Evans has a huge day. Tampa Bay keeps pace to win that division. And that gives us a wrap. We'll see if we'll get a little closer next week. We'll see how it goes. But, that gives us a wrap. It gives us we've got a good slate of games really between college and the NFL starting tomorrow. It's basically jam-packed until Sunday or Monday night, really. But before we sign off here, NBA Cup just happened. Obviously, Giannis and and the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Milwaukee Bucks, Damian Lillard got a little hard work, kind of, a little hard work, a little there. How did you guys feel about the game last night? How did you guys feel about, the tournament itself this year compared to the last year? Some quick thoughts there.
Very well deserving, even though I picked the Thunder. But they dominated. It's good to see that, that it seemed like now they're, after starting off the season in general, very, very much slow. It's just starting to seem like they're picking up some steam, picking up some cohesiveness. And so it's going to be interesting to see how their season ends. But hey, congratulations to Milwaukee. Hot Pockets, undefeated in the cup. Undefeated.
Yeah, shout out to the Bucks. Shout out to Dame Lillard. You got some kind of hardware. I get it.
They say he left with the cup in Glorilla.
Yeah, hey. But as far as the actual game though, it was very anticlimactic. The Bucks ran them out the gym pretty much started from like the second quarter on. It just seemed like I don't know what happened to OKC, and now I know they're missing Chet and everything too, but that wasn't a good NBA Cup game championship to watch, to be honest. And then you have it when you have it in a neutral place like Vegas, when you don't have the fans rocking. That's the big part of NBA, honestly. Especially when runs happen. So when OKC got down, it's like they're not coming back. It's like you get juice from that type of shit, and there is no juice in this place. So that's kind of what it was. But yeah, shout out to the Bucks, I guess. It is cool to see two of our kind of like established superstars get it. The first 2 years with LeBron and Giannis. So.
Yeah, and I echo your point about it being in a neutral site because especially in a game where Giannis dominated, both offensively and defensively. Some of those blocks that he had, especially that one where dude tried to dunk on him. It's just Like it was just too dead for it.
It was way too dead for that play.
And the NBA could create playoff atmosphere and some fan excitement by doing it in the state. I mean, in the arena, based on whether it's record or if you want to say, hey, this past year the East won, so whoever's in the Eastern Conference is going to be the host this year, or something like that. And the West won obviously the first year, so maybe they should do something like that to keep it exciting. Because I mean, I guess maybe for the players themselves, maybe they like to go to Vegas. They're like, a little mini vacation. But in terms of the excitement of the game, but it was good to see Giannis and the boys win. Obviously, that's also something that could possibly be a finals preview as well. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams take off for the rest of the season. Obviously, we saw one team take off last year with the Pacers comparatively to the Lakers, but
yeah,
it will be. I mean, the Lakers did have a great end to the season. It just ended in the first round.
Right, it was like right after that. The bad part about the Lakers was right after the cup is when they went on that bad losing streak.
And that's why some people were starting to be like, oh, Darvin Ham, blah blah blah. Like the Lakers were in the same position. It's like, well, you guys were also saying that JJ Redick was just a LeBron podcast mate. So if they're in the same position, then what the fuck does that say about Darvin Ham? Like, let's be honest. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
But with that being said, that gives us another wrap to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast. Merry Christmas to everyone, because I mean, we'll see how it goes next week, but we'll catch y'all then.
Yeah, absolutely.